The order came without a sound. Every man on the tier stood at the same second, faced the wall, and put both hands where the camera could see. No officer had spoken. No bell had rung. A boy named Leo, new to California's Supermax, felt his whole body go cold. This wasn't prison rules. This was something else, life under gang rule. A wrong move now, even a wrong glance, could bring trouble he couldn't stop. Across from him, Dante, older and calm, didn't look left or right. He kept his eyes on the paint. "Do what the room does," he whispered. "Don't add. Don't subtract." On the upper tier, a red light above a steel door burned steady. In the control booth, Officer Rivera watched the monitors. The tier had frozen as one, like a picture. He didn't hit the alarm. He didn't even breathe hard. If he broke this strange calm, he might start the very storm the room had just avoided. A mop slid down the corridor, shoo shoo, like a snake through grass. The trustee pushing it never lifted his eyes. At the bend, the mop head bumped a small folded paper scrap and pushed it along the floor. The paper made the turn, then disappeared under a door slot. The calm ended with the same silent snap that started it. Men turned back to their bunks. The day kept moving. Leo's heart didn't. That was the high point, the shock that shows what this place really is. Now let's tell how we arrived here. Morning at the Supermax came gray and quiet. Fog hung on the wire like wool. Lights clicked on in long white lines. Doors hummed. Vents whispered. Leo sat on the lower bunk and tied his shoes twice. Neat knots made him feel safe. Dante washed his face in a small metal sink and dried it with the towel he folded every night the same way. Nurse Tanya rolled her med cart down the line, wheels squeaking. "Morning, Leo," she said. "Headaches?" "A little," he answered. "Drink water. 4 in, 6 out." She smiled. Shoulders down. She said it to everyone. Gave them something to hold on to. Officer Rivera did his first pass. He held a paper cup of coffee and wrote nothing. But he noticed everything. A cup handle turned in, not out. A shoelace tucked twice, not once. 2 men trading places in the phone line without a word. None of this broke a rule he could write up. All of it meant someone was talking in a language made of small moves. "This place runs on 2 sets of rules," Dante said as they waited for chow. "The ones on the wall and the ones in the air." "Which ones matter?" Leo asked. "The ones in the air," Dante said. "Until they don't. Then the ones on the wall hit hard." The low of the day came with breakfast trays and the TV showing weather with no sound. A trustee mopped near the table with a bad vent. Men ate fast and quiet. A small laugh popped somewhere, quick and guilty like a cough. Rivera listened for metal in the laughter and heard none. Good. Yard came under a sky the color of old steel. The fence hummed. The ground kept last night's cold. Lines formed by habit. Older men on the benches, younger ones at the phones, a few along the wall, hands tucked, eyes forward. Leo and Dante walked the track with short steps. "The bench is the office," Dante said. He didn't point. He used his chin. "Decisions start there. If it's a good day, nothing big happens. Good days are rare." "What happens on a bad day?" Leo asked. "People forget the song," Dante said. "Or pretend they never learned it." A folded kite, paper the size of a matchbox, touched a shoe, kissed a crack in the concrete and slid toward the middle. Nobody looked at it. Everybody saw it. A man at the phone stepped back to give space to someone who wasn't there yet. 2 others traded spots along the wall, left for right, like dancers changing lines. None of it seemed important. All of it was. From the tower, the glass flashed once. The warden's shape moved behind it. Rivera caught the flash with the corner of his eye. He kept his face still. The kite reached a drain and stopped. A shoe tip nudged it on. Leo swallowed. "What's in it?" he asked. "Not much," Dante said. "Sometimes it's the motion that matters. The room learns who will push and who will wait." They filed back inside. Doors hummed. Count. Tup. Bets. Low again. This is how days stack in Supermax. High, low, hold, repeat. Close to noon, the first crack showed. A young man with quick eyes took the corner seat under the broken camera. He never sat there. A second man switched with him and kept the same posture. A third took a turn standing by the door with his back to the glass. It looked like nothing. It was a test. Can we shift the board without noise? Can we show who belongs where without a single word? Rivera saw the moves. He felt the tier lean like a table with a short leg. He stepped into the frame where the camera could watch him clearly. He didn't yell. He didn't point. He became a steady shape, reminding the room that the wall rules still existed. The tier settled a half inch. The short leg found a book under it and the table leveled, for now. In the afternoon, a small event spoke loud. The phone stayed open but the line didn't form. No one called home. No one called anyone. It was a soft kind of push, hold your voice, a way to save face and test patience. The guard in the booth pretended to check the air conditioner. Rivera pretended not to count the empty phone times. Who decides all this? Leo asked. Dante kept his eyes forward. People with long memories. People who can be quiet for a year. Why do we listen to them? Leo said. Because when we don't, Dante said, the room gets loud and loud brings lockdown and lockdown takes things you want to keep. The second high came at 5:14 p.m., right on a dot. A male officer with a straight tie and clean shoes arrived with a brown legal envelope. He followed policy, opened it in view, shook the pages, passed them in. The hand behind the slot took them slow. The room did a small inhale. Legal mail meant court. Court meant hope or heat. Heat comes fast. Leo watched the upper tier from the corner of his eye. He saw a white corner slide back out of the slot. Just a corner, to show the room a clean page. Then it vanished. Dante's jaw twitched. That's a vote, he said. A vote for what? Leo asked. To wait, Dante said. Or to move. The red light above the inner door blinked once and held steady. The TV's pictures changed from weather to sports, still with no sound. Tray scraped, then stopped. The whole building felt like it was listening to a radio just off station. And then the big high, the one you saw at the start, hit the day like a hard drum, the order that made every man on the tier face the wall at the same second. No officer spoke. No whistle blew. The tier locked itself, not with keys but with attention. A mop passed. A paper moved. A slot opened and closed. The rule in the air spoke louder than the rule on the wall. Rivera kept his voice level on the radio. Hold position. If he made the wrong noise, the air would change shape and not change back all week. The calm faded. Men turned. Trays moved. The trustee rinsed his mop. The paper was gone. The moment finished itself. Evening brought a bit of softness. Nurse Tanya checked Liz. Sleep okay? She asked 3 times like a chorus. Someone laughed for real. For a minute, the world felt almost normal, like a room in a house where the window sticks but still opens. Leo felt brave enough to ask the question that had sat in his throat all day. How do you survive here if the gang rules matter more than the prison rules? Dante took a slow drink of water and answered in small pieces. You learn the song. You follow it when it keeps people safe. You don't let it swallow you. And you never pretend you can't hear it, because you can, and they know when you're pretending. What if the song is wrong? Leo asked. Then you stand still, Dante said. And hope the room chooses mercy. The last low of the day crept in with lights dimming and vents humming a little louder. Rivera wrote short notes in his head. Soft phones, moving seats, legal mail, wall stand. He didn't put them on paper. Paper is heavy. Sometimes memory is better. At 8:59 p.m. the speaker crackled. Stand by. Program change tomorrow. Yard split A, B, phones halftime. Rivera closed his eyes for a breath. Cuts make deals harder. A smaller table means more elbows. On the upper tier, a cup set-down handle in. Across the way, another set-down handle out. Those small things were not decoration. They were letters. The red light over the inner door changed from slow blink to steady. Keys clinked in the tunnel. Boots sounded. Tonight's count would be tight. A shadow slid under a slot and paused. A hand scooped it fast. Leo saw the motion and felt his mouth go dry. He didn't know what the shadow carried. He knew what the room was now, a scale balancing 2 rules, 1 on each side and waiting to tip. Breathe, Dante said. 4 in, 6 out. The last second of calm stretched like gum. Then the speaker popped and a voice said the words that turned quiet into storm. Unexpected search. Now. Boots hit the floor. Doors hummed. The red light burned hard. Rivera stepped into the frame where the camera could read his face. Dante put his hands on the wall. Leo did the same, heart loud in his ears. The first door at the end of the tier buzzed. And swung open on a cell that wasn't supposed to be searched first. The sound of boots echoed like thunder through the concrete halls. Rivera's radio hissed again. Tier 2, secure all cells. Repeat, secure all cells. But the first door wasn't supposed to open. It was out of sequence. That mistake, if it was a mistake, meant the line between order and chaos was about to snap. Leo froze against the wall, pulse racing. Dante didn't move. Don't talk, he whispered. They'll think it's a signal. The first officer entered, face hard under the flickering red lights. Behind him came 2 more, one holding a metal detector wand, the other a riot shield. They didn't yell. They didn't explain. They knew loud meant panic. In Pelican Bay Supermax, even sound had to obey rules. But someone had already broken one. The man in the first cell, a shot caller from a southern group, stood with his hands up, eyes steady. He had nothing visible, but in this place, nothing could still mean something. Rivera stepped closer, flashlight beam cutting through the narrow space. Papers on the bunk, folded into squares. One was missing its corner. That was the same corner Leo had seen slip under the door earlier. Rivera picked up a folded square and unfolded it slowly. It was blank. The blankness said more than words ever could. It meant communication happened elsewhere, in timing, in silence, in who blinked first. Then a second sound broke through the stillness, a short metallic tap. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 knocks. Pause. 1. Dante's shoulders tightened. They're talking, he whispered. That's the code. Who? Leo mouthed. Everyone, Dante said. This is how they move without moving. The officers didn't know it yet, but the whole block was awake. The tapping spread, a pulse of control traveling through the concrete like blood through veins. Each floor, each cell joined in, slow and patient. It was the sound of the unseen system that ruled Pelican Bay, the network of obedience and fear that no official document could ever describe. Then silence again. Rivera straightened. Move on, he said. His voice was steady, but his jaw wasn't. He knew this was a warning. Somewhere inside these walls, someone with no freedom still had command. Back in their cell, Dante sat on the edge of the bunk, staring at the metal vent. You saw that? The timing, the way it stopped? That wasn't random. That's power. Who controls it? Leo asked. There's always someone higher, Dante said quietly. You never meet him, but you feel him. Every order, every silence, every shift in the air, it all comes from one man. They say he hasn't spoken to anyone in years. Leo frowned. How can a man run anything if he can't even talk? Dante gave a thin smile. In this place, silence talks louder than any word. Later that night, Rivera wrote his report. He didn't mention the missing paper corner. He didn't mention the tapping. He only wrote, search completed. No contraband found. That was how you survived as a guard. You saw everything, but you only said what wouldn't follow you home. Lights dimmed to blue. Vents hummed. Leo lay awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to decode what he'd just witnessed. Every sound seemed to mean something now. The pipes, the air, even the echo of boots down the hall. Why doesn't anyone stop it? He asked softly. Dante didn't open his eyes. Because no one wants to start what comes next. What's that? The storm, Dante said. When silence breaks. Outside, a guard tower light swept across the yard. For a second, Leo saw the razor wire glint like veins of ice. The beam passed over the wall, then vanished into the fog. He didn't know it yet, but the man who gave those whispered orders, the one Dante spoke of, had already decided the next move. And soon, both inmates and guards would learn that in Pelican Bay, even silence had a price. The next morning, when Rivera opened the control log, one line of text was blinking on the monitor that controlled all doors. Override, manual command. He hadn't touched it. Someone else had. The silent war wasn't just between gangs anymore, it had spread into the system itself. And the next move was already in motion.